Stop trying to do anything. There's nothing to do but to do nothing. The only thing there is to do is to stop thinking. Because if you're trying to do something, that means you think you're somebody doing something. And if you're trying to do something, that means you think you're in control, which is the cause of all suffering. You're always going to be caught in the cycles of suffering in the illusion if you're trying to do something. Because if you're trying to do something, you're identifying with the doer, with the actor, which is not who you are. You are not your actions. You are not your thoughts. You're not your senses. You're not your words, right? You are the observer. When we stop thinking long enough, we realize we are the observer. We are nature running off. So there's nothing to do, right? So we can stop trying to do anything because you're not doing nothing. You ain't doing nothing. You just think you're somebody doing something. You're attached. You're the actor. You're thinking so much. Some people, when I say stop thinking, they don't understand. They're like, what do you mean? I don't understand. What does stop thinking mean? That's because they're always thinking that they're completely living in their ego self, their separation in the illusion, instead of being the observer in the present state. So when I say the only thing there is to do to correct all imbalances, his presence and purification corrects all imbalances. Because why are we imbalanced? Why do we do things that are cause us imbalance? Because like bad habits or things we do to cope with being out of balance. That's why we do them, because we're out of balance. Presence and purification brings everything back into balance. Stop thinking. I'm like a broken record. I come back every day and say the same exact shit. Why do I do this? Because I need to keep hearing it. And I know you, my beautiful brothers and sisters, need to keep hearing it. Because what are we doing? We're overwriting the program with new programming. That's what this is. This is my consciousness and my conditioning. This is my conditioning, my chemistry and conditioning. This is my nature running off. Is me now helping with the reprogram of myself and of others. That's going to help us break free from the illusion. And as above, so below, right? How do we best help humanity? We have to fill our own glass, and then we will overflow onto others. How do we fill our own glass until it's overflowing? Presence and purification. We help ourselves. That's how we help others. Because the more we do presence and purification, every moment you are present, you are the cosmic beloved working through you as a vessel. You're your higher self. So how do we become our higher selves more? We got to stop thinking more. We got to facilitate a state of peace. We have to purify the body. We have to reconstitute and empty the mind, which allows deeper understanding, which allows us to be present or surrender more. All this works together. This is how we help humanity the most. The more we're present, the more we're allowing God to work through us. And we can help more people. And then we eventually help free more people from the illusion, from their identification with their somebodyness. We remind them, we say, hey, you are nobody doing nothing. I am nobody doing nothing. I'm just merely nature running off. We just sometimes think we're somebody doing something, and this is what keeps us trapped. So we have to keep reminding ourselves to stop trying to do things, because you're not doing anything anyways. You are not the doer. You just think you're the doer. Stop thinking and end all of your suffering, and which causes all of our suffering if we're trying to do anything, bringing about to that, back to that, right? Broken record. I say the same thing every day, and I keep repeating it because the illusion will never stop coming at you and always trying to perpetuate your cycles of thought through the sea of stimulation, aggravation, and information. So you constantly think you're somebody doing something, and you constantly think you're in control, and you constantly think you know, which makes us easier to control and to manipulate and easier to suppress. This is how they control humanity. They suppress us in every conceivable way, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, right? They suppress us so our consciousness stays very low. Because if the higher our consciousness is, the more we practice presence, purification, and surrender, and give it all up, the more we're allowing God to work through us. And we will not allow, truly free people would not allow such control as we allow on ourselves. So this is how we free the planet. This is how we free the consciousness and help humanity ascend. Presence and purification, freeing ourselves. Overflow your cup, my friend. Overflow it and let it keep going. And this is how we help free humanity. So my vessel is now trying to be a vessel for the divine and doing things like giving myself and you a reminder to stay present and to remind ourselves if we are suffering, it's because we are identifying with somebody doing something and we think we're in control. Remember, there is no control. Control is an illusion. Control keeps us trapped in the cycles of suffering, which keeps us trapped in lower limiting perspectives because we are thinking, right? Because of all the stimulation that keeps us trapped. So we have to back it up. Stop thinking. We have to stop taking in information. What do I mean when I say stop taking in information? Empty the mind, because we need to create space to allow a better communication with the divine to get deeper understanding. When I say stop taking information, what do you mean, like completely? This is probably not possible for most people. What I mean is stop trying to seek information, right? And just focus on what? The only thing you can do. Stop thinking. Presence and purification. And if certain information, remember, whether you throw your phone away and never look at the internet again and go live in the woods, or you look at your phone every day, it doesn't matter. As long as you're doing presence purification, the universe will provide exactly what you need, exactly when you need it, no matter what your situation is. And if you are facilitating a state of peace and practicing presence more, it's all about trust. It's all about giving 100% trust, surrender to God. And then everything will work itself out. We'll realize we don't have to think about anything. We don't have to worry about anything. All we have to do is give our full undivided attention to our cosmic beloved. And everything will be free. We will free ourselves. The more we are present, every second we are present, we are dissolving our identification with our ego self, our somebodyness, the actor. We are cutting the identification with the actor. When we're present, to identify with the actor and the ego, you have to think. That's what creates it. Remember, the sea of stimulation, aggravation, information inflates and creates an ego because it stimulates the cycles of thoughts, if that makes sense. This is how the illusion controls us. And so how do we get free? Stop trying to do anything. Stop thinking. Realize you are the observer. Observe your nature running off. Relax. Try to always catch yourself. I catch myself and then getting caught in the illusion. And I say, just relax. God's in control. That's all the control there is. There is no control but God's control, the divine timing. That's all there is. Because whatever happens was always going to happen because it happened. You were never going to do anything else. You can only ever act based off your chemistry, your conditioning, and your nature running off, your consciousness. You can only ever act in one way. You could never do another thing, ever, no matter how you acted. So when you look at things in the past, like, let's say you drank too much alcohol, or you ate poorly, you had poor habits, whatever, you can release your attachment to those. Because if you're attached to them, that means that assumes control, right? if you regret something or you have an attachment to something, assumes that you think you're somebody something. You think you're somebody doing something, and you think you're in control. So we can release our attachments to how we acted in the past, or things we did, or what other people did, right? Whenever somebody does something, or we do something, we can observe it and be like, they're just nature on and off. They're not doing anything. They just think there's somebody doing something. They're just their nature running off. Their chemistry and conditioning. So when you see someone act negative in what we would sometimes call a negative way, we can just remember they ain't doing nothing anyways. They're just their nature running off. They're just caught in the illusion like most other people, because that's how the program's designed. They don't want us to know there's a center of the circle. Stand in the center of the circle, the thoughtless state, the higher self, right? And allow all things to take their course. Don't become attached to anything. How do we do that? How do we practice detachment? Stop thinking. Our thinking is our attachment to the things that keep us trapped in the illusion. So, facilitating a state of peace, purifying the body, right? Reconstituting the mind. Things like these are one of the highest devotions to God. That's all there is to do, right? This is how we free ourselves. This is how we free the world. That's why I keep making these videos every day. This is how we free ourselves, and this is how we free the world. Is surrender, giving it all up. And we need to do things like remove the aggravators, right? Facilitate a state of peace. These are all part of the process of surrendering more, being present more. We improve our diet, eating more raw fruits and vegetables, and removing other things that aggravate us to the best of us. Remember, we can only do based off our chemistry and conditioning. This is conditioning right here, right? And I can act based off my chemistry. I'm just nature running off. I'm observing no matter what's happening. You're observing. So there are no good and bad. So when we start to do this and we start to become the observer, we realize there really is no good or bad place to be, or things to be doing, or this is good. I'm doing something I don't like this. I'm doing something I do like this. You got to become detached from it all and just observe it all. Observe your chemistry and conditioning, your nature running off. And this is higher self. This is how you become higher self. Walk into your higher self at any time by just relaxing and remembering that everything's cool, baby. God's got everything under control perfectly. So just give it up. And you will watch amazing things happen in your experience. The more you give it up, the more you facilitate a state of peace, the more you practice purification. The purification covers many different facets. Taking care of your body to the highest degree. But again, this is your conditioning. Your conditioning is going to do this because you're really not doing anything, right? You're just observing conditioning right now. That's all we're ever doing. It's just observing, right? So we are here together. Thank you for joining me again, my beautiful friends. May our cosmic beloved grant us peace, patience, presence, health, abundance, and understanding. And through the practice of presence and purification, we will fill our cups and overflow, and we will help free the planet from the illusion. I am God's eternal love pouring forth. Namaste.